إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا إنه من يهد الله فهو المهتد ومن يضلل فلا هادي له أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن سيدنا ونبينا محمد عبده ورسوله يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله حق تقاته ولا تموتن إلا وأنتم مسلمون يا أيها الناس اتقوا ربكم الذي خلقكم من نفس واحدة وخلق منها زوجها وبث منهما رجالا كثيرا ونساء اتقوا الله الذي تساءلون به والأرحام إن الله كان عليكم رقيبا يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله وقولوا قولا سديدا يصلح لكم أعمالكم ويغفر لكم ذنوبكم ومن يطع الله ورسوله فقد فاز فوزا عظيما. إخوة الإيمان السلام عليكم ورحمة الله تعالى وبركاته.
وعليكم السلام ورحمة الله وبركاته.
We give thanks to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala who has given us another opportunity to gather here today for another Salat al-Jum'ah. Today being the first day of the holy month of Dhu'l-Hijjah, year 1444 after the Hijrah of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, which is equivalent to the 7th day of the month of June, year 2024. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accept this gathering as an act of ibadah. As Nabiuna Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam told us that the first 10 days of this blessed month are the days that we need to increase in our good work and in our act of ibadah. Whatever we have been doing before, we are encouraged to multiply it in manifolds so that we can take advantage of the first 10 days. For those that will be slaughtering ram, it is now makruh for them to cut their nails, to lower their hair or whatever they want to take away from their body. For those that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will provide for to slaughter the udhiyah. It is among this number of days that they will judge. They will be traveling from Mecca to Mina to commence the operations of the Hajj rites. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make it possible for all those that have gone and those that are intending to leave. And we are also asking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to grant us the opportunity, may He count us and accept it as an act of ibadah. These particular 10 days are the number of days that Allah mentioned in Surah Al-Fajr. A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. Wa bihi nasta'in. Wal fajr. Wa layalin ashir. والشفع والوتر والليل إذا يشير هل في ذلك قسم لذي حجر ألم تر كيف فعل ربك بعاد. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, I swear with the dawn, wal fajr, the dawn. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, I testify with the dawn. Walayalin ashir, and the first 10 days of which month? The month of Dhu'l-Hijjah. Some scholars also interpreted it that the last 10 days of Ramadan are the days that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala referred to. But the unanimous consensus of the scholars, based on their fatwa, is that the 10 days that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is referring to here is the first 10 days of the month of Dhu'l-Hijjah. So, we are asked to fast if you have the opportunity to fast. We are asked to do a lot of ibadat if you have the opportunity, which we are asking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to grant us this opportunity and accept it as an act of ibadah. On the 9th day, which will be equivalent to the day of Arafah, those that are not on the Arafah plain, we are encouraged to fast on that very day. And the following day, we should go for our Salatul Duha, Salatul Eid-al-Adha, on the Eid al-Adha praying ground. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala count all this and accept it from us as an act of ibadah. Today, Bikuratullahi ta'ala, we'll be discussing more of the history of the illegitimacy of the Banu Israel on the land of Palestine, so that we can round it off since all this while that we've been discussing about it since October last year. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made us to understand in the Holy Quran that the Banu Israel that we have discussed about them extensively. Who are they? And who are the real owner of the land of Palestine? We have discussed all this. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made us to understand that this Banu Israel, he is the one. فَضَلْتُهُمْ عَلَى الْعَالَمِينَ. Allah is the one that gave them the honor, gave them the opportunity to be more honorable among all what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created. He didn't say, فَضَلْتُكُمْ عَلَى الْمَحْلُوكِينَ. He didn't say, I gave you honor, I honor you, I made you to be honorable on the mankind. No. Alal alami. Over all what me Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created, I gave you the supremacy over them. There is nothing we are using in this world. There is nothing we are using in this world that the hands of the Banu Israel is not there. In terms of the technological advancement, they are the one in the front. Including the so-called superpower, the America, the US. They rely on them in terms of what? In terms of their security consciousness, in terms of their security apparatus or security architecture. So there is nothing we want to do in this world that the hands of Banu Israel will not be on it. But this is what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given them. He didn't promise them the akhirah. But this world, they will be in front, and we other people will now be following them. Because of all this that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given them, they seize themselves as if they are untouchable. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made mention of them in so many several verses in the Holy Quran. And we have discussed how Nabiuna Musa alayhi salamullah, Prophet Moses, he liberated them from the hands of whom? Fir'aun, la'natullahi alayhi. And he asked them, let's go to Al-Ardul Muqaddasa, the promised land that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala promised us. But they said that we are not going to enter, we are not going to go there because fiya qawmun jabbarun. The powerful people are inside that community. They are on that Palestinian land. Okay, we are asking you, Moses, Izab wa anta rabbuka, you and your Lord, continue going there. Inna auna qaiduna. We will be waiting for you here. They refused to follow Nabiuna Musa alayhi salamullah to the land of where? Palestine. It's there in the Quran. They refused to follow him. So why are they claiming today now that the land belongs to them? Because they are the one that said, Fi'a qawmun jabbarin. The most powerful people, they are there at Jabbar. But the Jabbarun of yesterday, they are Dhu'afa of today. The people of might of yesterday, the Arab that were there, the inhabitants of that particular land, that were powerful people yesterday, they are the less privileged people today. Because of what? Because they are following them, they wanted support from them. Even in Africa now, if a president is coming and some of the Africans, in some of the African countries, they said, we are not expecting you, don't come to our town, don't come to our nation. Because you went to the embassy, they refused to give us visa from your country. You are not supposed to come here. If you come here, we are going to stone you. In the Arab land, nobody will have the audacity to say that. There was a time when Obama was the president of the US. He wanted to come to Nigeria. Nigerians clamored. They said, we are not expecting you. You are not going to have a red carpet reception here. And he ceased coming. He ceased coming. The threat was there, and he refused coming. Nobody can do that in the Arab land. If they do that in Arab land, they will cease to be existing. Because of what? Because they are the most powerful people yesterday. Today, they are nowhere to be found. They promised before that we are not going to have anything doing with these people. No embassy, no ministry, no airport. Their aircraft are not flying to this Arab country. But today, if any of this European leader is going to any Arab country, they will be running up and down because they want to receive an August visitor. So the Jabbarun of yesterday, they are the Dhu'afa of today. And Nabiuna Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam had already mentioned in an authentic hadith that a time is coming that the world leaders, they will be sitting together, and those that we place in front, they will now be like a ball that the children will be playing in front of them with. The powerful people of yesterday, they will now become like a ball, the way a child used to play with ball. That is how the Arab leaders will be in front of the European leaders. That is why we can see, if we can flash back or we can follow history, all what is happening in Palestine today, how many of the Arab countries, how many of the Arab leaders have come out or have came out to come and speak against the aggression of the Israelis? Nabiuna Musa alayhi salamullah, he brought them to those that followed him, he brought them there. The Banu Israel refused to come. They were there till the time of Nabiuna Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. We have explained how all the Anbiyaullah, they all lived in that particular land. The only person that did not live there was Nabiuna Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. But he passed through. One very day that he was traveling to Syria, him and Maysara, as then he was working under Sayyidatuna Khadija. And it has been written in their scripture that the person that is going to be the occupant of this place, whenever he comes, this bell that was hung, the bell is going to what? Is going to fall down. And as Nabi Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam reached that particular land, as they saw him, they recognized him because the bell fell down. And immediately, they couldn't find him again. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala asked Angel Gabriel to tell him to leave that particular location. Because if they handle him, they are going to kill him. So they were searching for him, they couldn't find him. It was the Maysara that they were traveling with. The announced, where is your co-traveler? And I said, we are together here, but I can't find him again. That was how Nabi Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam escaped. Till he died, he never came back to that land. Sayyidina Abu Bakr radiallahu ta'ala never came there. Not until when Sayyidina Umar became the Amirul Mu'minin, the Khalifa. He now came there. He was the one that collected the authority, the key to Baitul Maqdis. He was hosted. And the very day he got there, he was hosted. And they now asked him to come into the chapel. They asked him to come into the church. He now told them that at my level, as the Amirul Mu'minin, I'm not authorized and it's not ordained on me to go into your chapel because it's going to bring another meaning to the Islamic circle. That is one of the reasons why in the fatwa of the scholars that a reputable scholar should not go into any chapel because it's going to create a pandemonium in the society. But if there's somebody who has no meaning in the society can go. So Sayyidina Umar radiallahu ta'ala, you now ask them, Ali, that okay, you go and eat the food they want to give us. Go and settle with them and eat the food. So Umar radiallahu ta'ala was the one that collected the key to where? To Jerusalem, to Baitul Maqdis, to this Palestinian land, indicating that the land belongs to what? It belongs to us. We have established on several occasions that this land is where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is going to raise every one of us. It is on this land that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will gather us. It is on this land that the resurrection is going to happen. And it is on this particular land that we are going to know the people going to hell and the people that are going to the paradise. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala count us among the people that will go to paradise. Now, to summarize all what has been happening based on the little knowledge Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has bestowed on us. Today, October is going to be more of history of this particular land. In the 1900, year 1900, before the illegitimacy of this particular land, there used to be world superpowers, 4 empires that were ruling the world, which is the German Empire, which is the Russian Empire, which is the Austro-Hungarian Empire, and the Ottoman Empire. But we'll be more concerned with that of the Ottoman Empire. The founding father of the Ottoman Empire is Usman. As we used to call Salahuddin al-Ayyubi, the English used to call him what? Saladin. So Usman is what they turned to Ottoman Empire. The heir to the throne of the Austro-Hungarian was killed, was assassinated. Duke Fernandez was also assassinated, and Just because of that, that was what led to the Great War that we call the World War I. It was when the World War II happened by Adolf Hitler. That was when they now named the previous war as World War I. But initially it was called what? Great War. Which almost 7 million of battalions of army they participated in. So from that, it led to the decimation of this Austro-Hungarian that now split into like 6 countries. Gradually, the war extended to Ottoman. The Ottoman Empire is the Islamic Republic, which has the Caliphate. After the Abbasid, it now goes to the Ottomani. We have our ruling class in the Islamic circle from the Ottoman Empire. Gradually, the Zionists, and what do we mean by Zionism? The Zionism is just a movement, a nationalist movement that emerged in the 19th century by just one person. That the homeland, they want to establish a homeland for the Jews in Palestine. And the person that brought that fikri, that brought that discretion was called Theodor Herzl in 1897. So they now say, what can they do? That the Arab Empire, which is the Ottoman Empire, they need to break it so that all the Arabs, they won't have a united force against the mission of what? Of the Zionists. They now say, what we are going to do? Let's go to the Arab lands. The person that is leading them there, let's talk to him that we are going to ensure that you as the Khalifa, then we are going to give you the supremacy, we are going to give you the authority of what? Of all the Arab land. That we want to break you from the yoke of the Turkish. Because the seat of Caliphate was where? Was in Turkey then. In Istanbul. Now, they now said, what we are going to do? We want you to fight your Arab brothers. They now went to Sharif of Mecca. And Sharif of Mecca is just like the Amirul Mu'minin. Then, this Sharif of Mecca, the Khalifa then was Hussein ibn Ali. He was the 40th descendant of Nabi Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. The 40th descendant of Nabi Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And they have ruled the Islamic Caliphate for like 700 to 800 years. So, they now want to meet him. And all this is the brainwork of the what? Of the United Kingdom, of England, of the Britain, or the British. Is their brainwork. So they now introduce to him. They asked Henry McMahon to go and meet the Sharif of Mecca. Now go and meet him. Tell him that if they support us in the World War I, we are going to do what? We are going to give him all the countries in the Arab land. They promised him that. But unfortunately, the Sharif of Mecca didn't think and didn't refer back to the experience of the previous leaders, how they lived and how they succeeded and how they failed. The Sharif of Mecca accepted their offer, and on November 2nd, 1917, he now went to attack one of the sacred lands, not Bahrain, not Iraq, not Egypt. He started the attack from Medina to Munawwara, the Amir of Mecca, because he wants what? He wants to take the supremacy of all the Arab lands. But unfortunately to him, as they were doing that, they had that agreement with him. The Britons, the United Kingdom, they have had another agreement secretly without his knowledge. And he has confronted his Muslim brother. He has been fighting them because of power. And the second agreement that they were reaching within the circle of the Britain was reached between Britain and France. And that was what we call the Sykes-Picot Agreement, which is the second secret agreement. The Britain, they established 3 different secret agreements on the issue of this Palestinian land. which are in public domain. So this led to the agreement that they held. The sides is a diplomat of the Britain. The Picot is also a diplomat of the France. They now wrote an agreement together that we are going to take over the Arab land. The only place they are going to live that is going to be a neutral zone is Palestine. That nobody is going to touch Palestine. That was the agreement. In what? In the size Picot, the second agreement. After that of whom? After that of Sheriff of Mecca. While they were doing this, another secret agreement was being written, making the third agreement. And that was the one we call Balfour Declaration. 1915, 1916, 1917. These were all the three secret agreements. And what was in the secret agreement of that Balfour Declaration? That we are to establish a homeland, not a nation, not a country, a homeland for the Jews in Palestine. That was it. So the problem of what we are facing today in Palestine originated from where? From the Britain. Because all these three agreements, they were the one that originated it. Now, this Balfour Declaration, who is Balfour? Lord Balfour. He used to be a foreign secretary. He used to be a prime minister. Well, after being a prime minister, he became a minister. After being a minister, he now became a foreign secretary in 1917. When he became a foreign secretary, the initiator of the Zionism, which is Theodor Herzl, he died. So somebody that succeeded him was called James Wiseman. The James Wiseman, he left Switzerland because there was a confederation of the Jewish, global confederation of the Jewish in Switzerland, that they pronounced that we want a state for the who? For the Jews. It's not all the Jews that are Zionists. We have a particular group of Zionists that is just heresy. We have some that are just secular. That up to today, they are Orthodox Jews, that they have the principle of the old Jews. They call them Maturakata. They are old Jews, like old Catholic members, that they believe that what these present Jews are doing, these Zionists are doing, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala did not promise them. Because what they believed was that the Jews must gather together in a promised land for the return of Jesus Christ, which is going to be a messianic mission. That their Messiah will be coming back. And what is going to come back, you need to meet them where? In a promised land. These Orthodox Jews, they are still existing in the UST today. They didn't believe that. That if God is going to give them gift, if God is going to promise them a land, it won't be a kind of land that blood will be being split on the ground. That any promised land that God is going to give them is going to be a natural land, that it won't be a land that they are going to forcefully do what? Take over. So after Theodor Herzl, the founding father of Zionism, died, James Wiseman now left. He now came to Britain. On getting to Britain, he used to be a chemist. And he used to produce a substance that had been being used to produce bomb, acetone. So from there, he had that knowledge. He came to the UK. He became a professor of chemistry. With his knowledge, he now became a friend with Balfour, Lord Balfour, who was the what? Prime Minister. So they now became friends. He is producing bombs. He has the knowledge of bomb production. He has the knowledge of substances that are used to what? To produce bomb. From there, they had a discussion that during the World War, we are going to sell my product to you if you promise me that we are going to do what? You are going to give us a homeland. He sold the substances. He became very rich. And you know, when you are rich, you will be related to the what? To the powerful people. So he became a close ally of Balfour, who was the Prime Minister of the United Kingdom. So they had an agreement. When they had an agreement, they now sent the agreement to a particular man in UK that they call Lord Rothschild. Who is Lord Rothschild? A singular citizen of a country. The nation, the government is now writing a letter to him, seeking for his support. An ordinary citizen. Lord Rothschild, in the history of today, his family is one of the richest human beings on earth. You can go on to Wikipedia and check. They are not well pronounced because they are political savvy. They face their own business. So they sought for his support, and they got it. And Lord Balfour also now became a Christian Zionist. That was how the Balfour Declaration now came on board. And they passed it, and they established a homeland for whom? For the Zionists, on the land of Palestine. These are the three secret agreements that the Britain, England, United Kingdom had, which are secretive, which are haunting us till today, and the people of what? Of that Palestinian land. Now, to summarize the whole thing. Number one, what gave the United Kingdom the audacity to promise the fellow Europeans the homeland that did not belong to them, the land that did not belong to them? What audacity do they have? They are also a foreigner of that land. It's not their own. So why are they there? And they are promising outsiders that you can come and settle here. These three agreements has led us to where we are today. Because we have established from that of the narration of Nabiyuna Isa and Nabiyuna Musa alayhi salamullah, that the land is not the land of the Banu Israel. It belongs to the Arab. And on the present Palestinian land, it's not only the Muslims that are Arabs. We have the Jews that are also what? That are Arabs. And they are also settling on that land. What gave the United Kingdom the audacity to now be calling other European fellows, other European countries to come and settle on that land? That is question number one. Number two, what gave the United Nations to give authorization of splitting the land and apportioning the largest percentage to the Jewish Zionists? The United Nations, they had a resolution, they have a constitution that on no account should the interest of any group be tampered with without their consent. That is one of the conditions in the constitution of what? Of the United Nations. There are no accounts, so that everybody will be free from what? From colonization. It is this same United Nations that now splitted the land into two or into three. They gave 55% of that Palestinian land, they gave it to the Jewish people. They gave 45 to the Arab people. And they now said Jerusalem will be on its own as an entity. What gave the United Nations that audacity to do this? And in 1947, United Nations just voted for the partitioning of a homeland for the Jews on the Arab land. It was a vote. It was a vote, ordinary vote.
Then, who gave the authority to come and decide on the apportioning of the land? And then, before that 1947 voting, it was only 3% of Jews that were on that Arab land. The following year, the 3% has become 30%. Not because of reprocreation, it's because of the influx of other Arabs, of other Zionists, of other Jews, Yahudis, from other European countries that are migrating to where? Into Palestine. They now become dominant on that Palestinian land compared to the inhabitant and the original landowner of that particular place. Their population now became overwhelming, better than the people that own the land. What gave the United Nations this autonomy, this authority to decide on the division of the land? That is question number 2. Question number 3 that we need to ask is that on the very day of the declaration of the state of independence on the Palestinian land in Israel, what gave the newly formed state of Israel, what gave them the audacity, what gave them the supremacy, what gave them the permission to launch an attack on the less privileged Arabs that they came to occupy their land? May 14, 1948. The British, they withdrew from that land. And the following day, it was declared as an Israeli state. And the fourth person that declared it was called David Ben-Gurion. He was the one that declared the state of independence of where? Of Israel on the May 14, 1948. They were there on that same day. The following day, an attack was launched by 5 Arab lands. The Jordanians, the Syrians, the Iraq, the Lebanese, and the Egypt. They attacked Israel because it was an unjustful declaration. The Iraqis, the Jordanians, the Lebanese, they attacked from the north. The Jordanians and the Syrians and the Iraqis, they attacked from the east. The severe attacks were from the south. And the Egyptians, they advanced towards the state capital of Israel, which is Tel Aviv. And they got to a particular location called Yabna, 22 kilometers to Tel Aviv. The attack was so severe to the extent that the United Nations had to come and what? To come and intervene. So on the 11th June 1948, a relief came onto the Israel. You know, 5 Arab states is bombarding them. Because you are here, and all these 5 Arab states, they are what? 5 Arab nations, not states. They are Arab lands, they are Arab countries. That you can't come and do this. Even before David Trump left as the United States of America president, they suggested that we should evacuate these Palestinians so that we can bring peace to this land. That Egypt should bring a portion of their land, Syria should bring a portion of their land, so they will not transfer all the Palestinian people to that place. It was some of our scholars, righteous scholars that stood up, and among them was Sheikh Hassan Waledu. And the caliber of Sheikh Yusuf Al-Qardawi, they are the ones that fought fearlessly that nothing like that will happen. These people, they will be here because the Banu Israel, they have already said, فَإِنَّ فِيهَا قَوْمًا جَبَّارِينَ. And they told Nabi Musa, إِذْهَبْ وَأَنْتَ رَبُّكَ إِنَّ هَؤُلَاءِ قَاعِدُونَ. So this land doesn't belong to them. David Trump, they promised them, we build airport for you, we build market for you, we bring modern city for you. If not our scholars that raised up, where would the Palestinian, the less privileged people, where would they have been today? So on the 15th of May, 1948, an attack was launched on them. But on the 11th of June, 1948, the United Nations now came to intervene on them. And the relief now came on the Israel. There is no how mighty you are. There is no how strong you are. If 2-3 hands came on you, you become a less privileged person. No matter how powerful you are. So relief came on them. So every one of them, they became settled. But clandestinely, secretly, they were sourcing for power. They were sourcing for weapons. The Israelis, they turned to the west to search for their own weapons. The Arab states, they also sought to the west to search for their own weapons, but they were turned down. After some time, Egypt, because of their formidable force, Israel sees them as what? As a threat. Egypt now turned back to the European. The Israeli, they were sourcing their own weapon after the intervention of the United Nations. They were sourcing their own weapon from the European black market. And the Arabs, precisely the Egypt, they were sourcing from the West. But the West, they deny Egypt. They refused giving him what? The supply of the weapon. So in July 1948, he now turned to the Russia and the Soviet Union. So the prime minister there was called Nikole. Nikole now supported him. He was the one that now supported the Egypt, so that they can also have weapons to fight whom? The Banu Israel, the Zionists. Because it is illegitimate occupation on that Palestinian land that they are doing. And nobody, if we don't study history, if we don't listen to history, if we don't read history, we won't know that these Zionists, this particular group of people, they are so arrogantly blatant and they trample on human beings, and the supremacy of the world leaders, global world leaders, are looking at them like this. And why will they be looking at them like that? Is because some people, all the world leaders, they used to have their own fraternity where they meet, where they share power, especially in the Freemason. And I've ever told us here, every one of us, if you can have access to $1, not $100. Look at the symbol on $1. Look inside that symbol, you see one eye. That is symbol of what? Of Freemason. You hardly see any world leader that will not belong to that. They have where they used to meet. So to fight each other used to be difficult, more or less like a secret court. So the West, they refused selling weapons to whom? To the Egypt. And the Russia supported him. They were there till the summertime. It came to a time, I'm talking about the attack that was attacked on the less privileged people of Palestine in a village called Deir Yassin. The following day of the declaration of state of independence in where? In Israel. On an illegal land. And they are creating another country in an existing country. It's just like to raise another country inside Nigeria now. That was what happened in where? That was what happened in Palestine. October 1948, the Egyptian army were now encircled. They were attacked in a community or in a region called Al-Fallujah. They were attacked in that community by the Israeli force. And a particular lieutenant colonel was captured in that attack. And he was called Lieutenant Colonel Gamal Abdel Nasser. This Lieutenant Colonel Gamal Abdel Nasser was the commander of that troop. So they were there, October, November, December, January 1949. The United Nations now intervened that we can't leave these people because Egypt and Israel, they are on two parallel lines. I hope we are following. just for us to understand where the problem of these Palestinian people erupted from. So in February, 24 February 1949, there was delegations of the Egypt and that of the Israel. They now met on island of Rhodes in Greece for resolution. So that the group, the officers that were captured in October 1948, where Gamal Abdel Nasser was encircled, they will be released. Alhamdulillah, at the end of the day, the United Nations were the one that sponsored the meeting and everything. They were able to resolve. By summertime, in that 1949, there was an agreement that so place will be captured by we. So place will be left for the Egypt. So in March 1949, the Israelis, they now took over the West Bank and the Jerusalem. And they shared it with the Jordans. They now assign Gaza to Egypt. Gaza, where our people are suffering today. They assigned Gaza to Egypt government. And they kept on managing it. But the officers were not happy because they were not carried along. So Gamal Abdel Nasser now conceived an idea of establishing a movement that is called Free Officers Movement. Are we following? He conceived that idea that the political class of Egypt, they didn't carry them along and they reached a consensus. They reached a consensus with the Israelis. While they were releasing West Bank to them, while they are releasing West Bank to them, to the Israelis, and the Israelis also releasing it to the Jordans. And then they now release Gaza to us. The army officers were not happy. So, the first thing they did in October, the first thing they did in June 1952, from 1949 to 1952, there was a tranquility, a kind of little peace. The first thing they do in July 1956, July 23rd, 1956, was to take over of the political class of what? Of Egypt. They now deposed King Hussein, King Farouk, who was the king of Egypt then, and they sent him on an exile. So Gamal Abdel Nasser now became what? He now became the de facto leader of Egypt. That was how they had the first military officer as the president of Egypt. The way Kemal Mustafa Atatürk was the first president of Turkey. So also Gamal Abdel Nasser also became the president of Egypt. That is what they call July Revolution. Are you following? He was there. David Ben-Gurion, who was the prime minister, had already retired. So he now came back. He came back as a defense minister. He now said he was anticipating a kind of fear that this Gamal Abdel Nasser, I hope he's not going to be a similitude of Kemal Mustafa or Mustafa Kemal Atatürk of Turkey, because that one was the one that fought the allied forces of the Germans, of the UK, and of the France when they decimated the Ottoman Empire. He was the one that confronted them and liberated Turkey from the hands of all these German forces, all these allied forces. So David Ben-Gurion, who was the founding father of what? Of where? Of Israel, was also scared of Gamal Abdel Nasser. So on coming on board of David Ben-Gurion as defense minister, the following week, he now gathered 150 troopers. They now went to attack the Gaza, and they killed 40 senior army officers and they injured a lot of them. The following month, March, Gamal Abdel Nasser now went to Gaza. He now promised them that the aggression of these Israelis, I won't let it go. I'm going to fight them. That was in March 1955. I won't let it go. I need to fight them. You people should be rest of mind. I'm going to fight them. By July, Gamal Abdel Nasser now blocked the sea that leads, sea of Gulf of Aqaba, where they used to do their transaction up and down. He blocked it. That you people, because you are having a water passway, that is why you are misbehaving like this. He blocked it. The Prime Minister of the United Kingdom then, Eden, he now said that the decision of Gamal Abdel Nasser is between life and death. Because after closing down Gulf of Aqaba, he closed down the Suez Canal as well. And this Suez Canal is the route that leads to India. And that particular route is owned by the Britain and the France. So they call it as what? As death and life. A lot of incidences happened in between that time. Why are we narrating all this? Is that what gave the newly state of independence declared by David Ben-Gurion to go and attack the inhabitant, the original landowner of where? Of Palestine. Gradually from that 1955 to that 1956. From 1956 to 1967, there was a relative peace on that Palestinian land. Not until June 5, 1967, which led to the day they call 6-Day Wars on that same Palestinian land. On the 5th of June, there was an operation that had been prepared by the senior Air Force officer, is being called, of the IDF, Israeli Defense Force, IDF. He had already prepared for like 5 years, so for like 3 years. They are prepared for how they are going to destroy Egypt. And they call it Operation Focus. So the operation that they are prepared for within 3 years, they now had the opportunity of launching it in June 1967. And they started the operation on the 5th of June. So the first thing they did was to go and attack, because the Israelis, they seized all in the Arab land. They seized Egypt as their threat. The Jordanians are there. The Syrians are there. The Iraqis are there. They are not even considering the Lebanese. So their major threat is Egypt. So they went and launched their Operation Focus, being led by Eze Weizmann. Eze Weizmann is the supreme commander of the IDF. They launched it, and on that same day, they destroyed more than 300 aircraft of the Egyptian government. They destroyed all their tarmac, so that they won't be able to what? To be able to fly and attack them. In the midday of that same 5th of June, which was the first day of the 6 days, the Egyptian radio now communicated that the Egypt, they have been having victory over the Israelis. So the Jordanians, the Syrians, and the Iraqis, they now withdrew. Because they too, they are in the periphery of what? Of the Egypt, to give them support. So they now withdraw. That was on the 5th. On the 6th, the Deputy Supreme Commander of the Egyptian forces is called Marshal Amr. Marshal Amr now flew in a public aircraft. He didn't follow the Air Force aircraft. He now saw the supremacy, the taking over of the air, of the cloud, by the power of whom? Of the Israelis. That the Israelis, they have covered all the sky. So they will be able to fight from the sky. But they have more effort. They have more strength on the ground. That was on the 6th of June, 1967. So when this Marshal Amr now came back, from his surveillance. He now called, he withdrew all their forces on the ground. The withdrawal of the forces on the ground now gave more strength to the Israelis. So they started attacking them. With this withdrawal, on the 7th of June 1967, the Jordanians, the Iraqis, and the Syrians, they also now withdrew. That the people that we are supporting, they are no more on the battlefield. The Israelis now had the opportunity of attacking them. So they have captured the whole airspace and they have captured the ground space. Just because of what? Because of the Palestinian land. That was on the 7th of June 1967. On the 8th, the Israelis, they now try to secure their border in order for the Syrians not to come and attack them. They secure it from the Golan Heights. What we call the Golan Heights are like mountains in a very strategic place in between the Israel and the Syrian. That these Syrians they not come out, they secure the place. Then on the 9th of June 1967, these Israelis now mounted the Golan Heights precisely. That yes, we have captured all this area. No any external forces, no any aggression can come and attack us. We are safe by the Syrians. They have already decimated the Jordanians. The Iraqis are nowhere to be found. The history of the Lebanons is kept aside. Their main target is to destroy whom? To destroy the Egyptians, which they have gotten supremacy because the first day on the 5th of June, they have destroyed their 80% of their aircraft. They destroyed the tarmac. So there is nothing that can flee from there. There is nothing that can land over there. On the 10th of June 1967, the Damascus radio, which is the state capital of Syria, now announced on the radio that the Syrians, they have gained power. They have succeeded. The way the Egyptian radio declare as well. So also the Syrian in Damascus, they also declare. The troops on the field, they now withdrew back. That was how the Israelis, they now captured everybody. And that was how they decimated the whole Arab land. And that was what gave them the superiority to date on the land of where? Of Palestine. So all the allied forces that were fighting for the real landowner, they have been fought and they have been conquered. Then the less privileged people, what would they do? So this is a brief history of what has been happening since 1900, right from 1897, from the head of the Zionism. That is the injustice and the illegitimacy occupancy of that land till today. Now, the third question that brought all this analysis. What gave the Zionists, what gave them the opportunity, what gave them the audacity to go and attack the less privileged people that are majorly, they are farmers, they are not weapon carrier members. People that are just farmers, children. They went and destroyed them. That very day, they destroyed like 450 villages in Deir Yassin. Millions of people are being sent away. The first one that happened on the 15th of May is the one we call the first Nakba. And what is the Nakba? Catastrophe. The second one that happened is the one that I mentioned to us, within the 6 days, that we call 6 days war, is the one we call the second Nakba, which is the second catastrophe. From the United Nations record, over 7 million people are being displaced in between these two Nakbas that are scattered around. In the record of the United Nations till today, the highest number of refugees in various camps in the globe, they are the what? They are the Palestinians. Because of the injustice of whom? Injustice of whom? Of the Britain. So what gave them the audacity to go and launch an attack the second day they launched the Declaration of State of Independence of Israel? That is number 3. Number 4. What gave them the opportunity, the so-called Zionists, what gave them the opportunity to be sending away to the extent that they want to kill their own son of the soil. There is one of the, who is a researcher, we call him Professor Ilan Pappé, I-L-A-N-P-E-P-P-E. Professor Ilan Pappé is a researcher. He is an Israeli. So he used to be a lecturer in Israel. So he was the one that was going around to bring on board from their archives in the ministry that all the massacres that had happened, all the catastrophes that had happened on this Palestinian land, we should bring it out. People should see. Because of the what? Injustice. They started threatening his life. So he had to leave. He's now in United Kingdom living there. As a lecturer, as a professor, he's still alive. He was the one that wrote a book that we call The Ethnic Cleansing of the Palestinians. Professor Ilan Pappé. He went to the ministry. He went to their archives to go and extract histories and information that the whole world, see, we are doing injustice to whom? To the Palestinians. His life was threatened. He had to leave. That was the fourth question. Or that is the first question that I'm throwing to every one of us that we should ask. The global superpower, we should ask them. The fifth question that I want to ask, why is it that all these people are being subjected to inhuman restrictions? This Palestinian land on their land, they are being subjected to inhuman treatment. They don't have access to any basic needs. All aids were being cut off away from them. Why? The former US President, Jimmy Carter, he wrote a book after visiting this same Palestinian land and came back. He wrote a book called Peace, Not Appetite. And what I mean by appetite is for you, it's a kind of racism. To be telling me that you are a black person, I can't do with you. You are a brown person, I can't do with you. That was what affected Nelson Mandela. That led him to go and be what? In prison for what? For 27 years. Jimmy Carter, when he came back from Palestine, he wrote that book that the subjection that they subjected these people to is not something that we should be using our eyes to see. Peace is better than appetite. That was one. Desmond Elliot Tutu, he was a renowned bishop from South Africa. He also went to this Palestine. He was an evangelist. He wasn't a Muslim. Not until you become a Muslim or you are a practicing Muslim before you will have sympathy for the Palestinians. He came back after Nelson Mandela. They all have the same experience because the largest open-air prison, you know our own prison here now, if you go to Kirikiri, if you see the wall, probably maybe it's even higher than that of the wall of Jericho. Or anybody that has ever visited Gideon or prison yard, you will see how the wall is, how tall it is. Nelson Mandela, Desmond Tutu, they all said the largest open-air prison, open, that people can move around. You know, in prison, in Kirikiri, you can't move around. You can only move around in the compound, right? Or in Kuje or anywhere they are. Or Kekura in the lorry. You can only move within the perimeter fence. But this one, you can move from here to Ajah, move from here to Cotonou, move from here. But you are in prison, but the prison is an open air. That was why I told us, when we were talking, when I was defining the Banu Israel to us, right, that these Zionists, all these Yahudis, these Jews, they are two types, that they are still there now. We have some that we call the Su'uyun. The Su'uyun are the ones that belong to the occultic class, that they belong to a particular fraternity. The other ones are the Hamas. And what happened? What happened to the Hamas? They are saying, this is our land. We need to take over it. They are fighting us, they took it forcefully, which we are going to use an aggression to take it back. That is what Hamas is doing. And they call them what? They call them terrorists. The other set of people, they are also Palestinians that are Muslim brothers and Arab brothers, and others that are not even Muslim, but they are same Arab brothers, but they are Palestinian. Those ones, they are under the authority of the Israelis. So if the Hamas, those in the Hamas class, if they even want to go for Umrah, go for Hajj, they have to submit their paper to this particular set of Palestinians that are under the authority of the Israelis. How do we get it? So they can't do anything. None of them can do anything until their paper pass in front of the Israelis. Are they not under bondage? Why? What gave these people the opportunity and the authority to allow these people to be under subhuman restriction? Brothers, let every one of us just try and go and cogitate on all these 5 points that I've mentioned. Why are our own brothers in Gaza, in Palestine, and every other places are under this condition? If me and you were also experiencing it, how is our life going to be? May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bring ease and tranquility to them. Inna Allah wa malaikatahu yusalluna ala nabi ya ayyuhallazina amanu sallu alayhi wa sallim taslima. Alhamdulillah, wa salatu wa salamu ala man la nabiyya ba'da. We give thanks to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala who has given us this opportunity to be here today. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala answer our prayer and forgive us of our shortcomings. In summary, all what I have said since is just a summary of what we have been discussing since October 8th, year 2023. I'm going to close it today because ta'ala. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala forgive us of wherever we might have committed any error and erase it from our hearing. This is the best Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has bestowed on me. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bring tranquility to our brothers in Gaza and wherever they are under subdue oppression by the world power people. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bring tranquility to our own Nigeria too and give us peace of mind. Wala hawla wala quwwata illa billahi al-aliyyil azim. So, Dhu'l-Hijjah is fast approaching. Today is day 1. On day 9, which is probably next week Saturday, will be the day of Arafah. The following day on Sunday will be the day of Dhu'l-Hijjah. This is not the first time we'll be celebrating Dhu'l-Hijjah, but we need to be reminding ourselves on what we need to do. Last year we discussed it extensively. For those that want to slaughter the Ragoleyago, we have explained the type of animal you need to buy. You need to ask, how old is this Turkey? How old is this goat? How old is this ram? How old is this Malu and the Rakumi, the camel? You need to ask. For the goat, if it is 6 months, you can use it for layer. For the ram, 1 year. For the cow, 5 years. For the camel, 7 years or 5. For the akuya, the goat, only you and your family. For the ram, only you and your family. For the cow, 5 people. For the camel, 7 people. You can join hands together. But the best among all the classes of this animal is the ram. Don't join money to buy the ram. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala continue to provide for us. As the economy is now, the goat that was bought 10,000 naira last year is almost 200,000 now. For instance. If you don't have the money, don't go and borrow. Yoruba people used to say, Ọlọ́mọdé no be o sele. Eje no be o sele tí ó bá sele, ẹ̀yin ẹ má gbẹ́sẹ̀ sí. Tẹ́ bá gbé ẹsẹ̀ sí yóò san yín lẹ́sẹ̀. If you don't have money this year, go and buy chicken. Abu Hurairah radiyallahu ta'ala, he bought chicken. And he was the one that narrated the most hadith of Nabi Muhammad. He doesn't have money. He was a poor man like me. He had no money. And they saw him in Medina carrying babban zakara up and down. They want to meet Nabi Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Ya Nabi Muhammad, our master. Does it mean that Zamu ya mukashe zakara ne? Actually, Abu Hurairah just wanted to make his family happy. If you don't have money for rago, you don't have money for cow, you don't have money for rakumi camel, go and buy zakara. Zakara, the cheapest zakara in Juma maybe is 15,000-20,000. If you don't have, don't buy. Go to Leia, go to eat, and come back on DSTV. Watch today's in Makkah. What are they are doing in Makkah and Medina? Be happy. Do kununzaki, do zobo. You too, you wear babari gake, yes. Bani the kudini amani na the reina de la pia. On that very day is when they will pass some people to hospital. Some people will buy the ram. That ram, they will use it to do sadaka after their 3 days. So if you are alive that day, make yourself happy. Wear your good clothes. Even if you are not happy. If the economy did not make you happy, don't let us see you that you are not happy. Because if you deny yourself the happiness of that day, Allah will deny you the happiness on the day of Qiyamah. That some people is because you don't have money. Do you know the number of your mates that are under the sun inside the grave? Inna Allah yuhibbu an yara asara ni'mati ala abdihi. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala used to love to see the physical appearance of what he has done. He loves to see it on the body of his servants. Be careful. Even if you are not happy, even if they just sack you from your place of work, that very day, hide your baki chiki. Hide it. And cry to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Whatever has been taken from you unjustly, Allah will return it back. That day Allah will send all the angels. Especially on the day of Arafah. When you are on the Arafah plain, everything will be white. But you are going to see other colors because of some menstruating woman and whatever. But the white will be uncountable. Allah will now call the angels. Kunganiko, Bakunche Karin Alichesu number. In Niger, Elufla, Alifatan, called out the Jalu Mafia, Fiku Dima, our Nanu, Sabi Biamdika. Suna Gama Allah Kaka Alichesu. But when soon as the Kashe Dunaba, before maybe Adama, there was an existence. Allah will now be proud of us. Okay, you see my Ibad. You see them as they are worshipping me. Be among the people Allah will be proud of. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala take us to that time. And give us all what we are going to use to celebrate it. Amen. Those of us that want to travel, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protect us on the road. Amen. All the evil on the road, Allah, before we get there, clear them away from us. Amen. Our to and fro, Allah, continue to be with us. Amen. Our people, let us meet them well. Whenever we are coming back to our places of hope, Allah, return us back in a good condition. Amen. And those of us that will not travel, Allah, wherever we are going to do this, Allah, let us be happy. Amen. Give us halal to eat. Give us halal to wear. Our environment, let it be lawful for us. Anything that is going to terminate or truncate or tarnish our relationship between us and you, Allah, take them away from us. Wala hawla wala quwwata illa billah. Our Muslim brothers that are already in Saudi Arabia for Hajj, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala be with them. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala be with them. Every one of us, let us be careful. 2 days ago, they caught 4 intending pilgrims here in Ikeja here at Emirate or something hotel. When you leave Oshodi, last week, if you are going to airport, they met them in hotel. They were trying to conceal 200 kilograms of cocaine that they want to take to Saudi. 3 male and 1 female. The female is 38 years. We have 31, 34, and 32. Maybe somebody sponsored them. The Hajj that somebody wants to go. Some malams are there. For the past 30 years, Allah abun da ya rage mu a duniya nan kawai ne ka bani kujerar maka je maka dawo. In ma na dawo ko ka kashe ni ma can, bari je ga kabari manzo Allah. That is what some people are just waiting for. And you just saw the opportunity on the platter of gold. Now misbehave. 8 million. From 3 million. We have one of our father here that went last year. From 3 million to 8 million. How much will it be next year?
10 million.
And Ijara mana. So that we have not gone, so that we can go, maybe if you go back to 200,000 naira. So we won't go to 10 million. Let's continue to be supplicating Allah should better our country. There is no country that is better than Nigeria in this world. It's just because we have unfaithful and unreasonable leaders. Shiayewa, Olori la Shagbako ni. But muzo duniya da ba kyau ba, Allah bai sa mu a cikin kasa da ba kyau ba. Su leaders din mu ne mutane the other side. One of the best country, Adunia, is Nigeria. Amarana Kiyamako. Allah will finish every other country. When the rest finish, you now come back to Nigeria because you are a special case study. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala continue to better our country. Don't let us be saying negative things about our country. Wallahi, summa billah, Nigeria is one of the best countries in the world. Wallahi, I've come to be Rabbil Kaaba. With the level of journey I've traveled in my life, it's one of the best countries. And the benefit of it is going to come to us and come to our children and come to our generation. All those that want to block it, Allah will take care of them. How is going to take care of them? Allah knows. Allahumma izzal Islam wal Muslimin wa zilla shirka wal mushrikeen wa damir adaka ada ad-din wa ansur ibadaka al muwahhidin bi rahmatika ya arhamar rahimin. I have one clause I used to mention every time. There is no family that is settled or that is balanced. There is no family that maybe I don't have somebody I'm talking to in my family now and I don't know how to approach the person. On Saturday, send a WhatsApp message. Barka di Salah. The next Juma, Barka di Salah. If you do it 2-3 times, at least in Shiba, Mosi Achiba, you will return back one. Gradually, you will reconcile. Don't die and you put somebody in your heart. Allah will hold you till that person come, then you reconcile. Maybe after 1,000 years, that's when you now have a pass mark. Let's relate with our family members. And I keep telling you, not your wife and your children alone. Your extended family, that you have the opportunity, even if it's ordinary cleaner, I mentioned it here last week, that you are here, any opportunity in your place of work, bring people from your family. Bring people from your family, that you are there today, you won't be there tomorrow. That while you are there, this is the opportunity I got. In sight of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you'll be able to say, while I was there, I helped so person from my family. It can be a yardstick for you as a tawassul to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Help people. The people we cried to help us yesterday, that they refused to help us, we can help them today. Accept to be Rabbil Kaaba. Where we are today, alhamdulillah, may Allah let it be better. We can help them if they come from. We won't look at yesterday. Every one of us, you should not look at yesterday. Ma la yakunu fala yakunu bi illatin abadan wa ka'inu sayakun. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala continue to protect us. Our security brothers, our uncles, our fathers that are with us, that we are always together here. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala continue to be protecting you. Those of you that you are arms carriers among you, may Allah protect you from the arms you are carrying. But I keep saying it because if you have a power, it will be intoxicating you. Whatever you know you don't want them to do to you and to do to your children, don't do to any other person. Because we used to respect you in your uniform. You too, you should respect our human being. If you slap us because you are in uniform, we might not be able to retaliate, but Allah will slap you back when you don't respect. So treat people with humility. Treat people with humility. And you that your power is what? Is by rule. I can sack him. I can fire him. I can do this. I can decide his fate. Keep on. Allah will decide your own and decide that of your children at the appropriate time. And he told us one story. When you are approaching international airport in Lagos here, there is a junction they call Napo. You branch like this, you'll be going to local airport. By the opposite side, you see Ashtam. Straight is international. There used to be one police officer used to be there. Very brutal. One very day, one young lad that was coming back from abroad after his masters. Because of 100 naira, 50 naira with the driver, accidentally, deliberately, this police officer shot down that guy and killed him. If I'm not misquoting, that guy is either his only son of his father or only child. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will do it. Inna rabbaka labil mirsad. The son of that police officer, it is that same fault they killed him after so many years. Al jazau aza min jinzil amal. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala forgive. I'm saying this so that every one of us should wake up. There is nothing we do that will go scot-free. The people that are packing our money without anybody checkmating them in this country, the money they are spending on those children, how many of them are getting good results from those children? The money they used to send them abroad, the children when they are coming back, some of them buy gun. If you cheat people, definitely, and use their resources to sponsor your own children, it is that child that will make you to cry till you die. This is not a cause. This is the natural law of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Al-jaza'u aza. Al-jaza'u means this repercussion, a son. Al-jaza'u aza. This reward, let me use reward. It's not reward, but let me use it. or results of whatever you do. Min jinsil amal, you will get it from any work you do. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala let us be humble and do the right thing. Wala hawla wala quwwata illa billah. Kumu ila salatikum yarhamukumur rahman.